Carl Sagan could not have predicted 2021, but he did see it coming. He wrote the following back in 1995, and we quote, "I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media, the 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less, lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance." Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later, realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Even as these grainy satellite images released today by the Chinese government.
Again, the Malaysia flight too was one shot at China saying knock it off.
Why shoot it down though if it's not hostile?
Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Why the Americans would?
They leave distance annihilated.
This country is very powerful. Far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world. Not even close.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should be his duty. And to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Damn, Oppenheimer, you dog, Oppenheimer. What did you get up to? Welcome and TGIF today, chat. A reprieve. No politics, or at least minimum politics, chat. It is science time. Yes, chat. I've had enough. I've dunked on enough of the woke right for 1 week. We can come back to it. They're not going anywhere. In the interim, we have shit we have to do. We have a mission. We have technology that we have to steal like Robin Hood and give back to the poor, give back to the cattle, to the goyim that are out there. They need our help, chat. Right off the bat, major news. I got another email from Charles Chase. And I'm not going to lie, chat. It's a doozy. This will be the last time I share private correspondence with you guys. Sad face. Reason being, I actually have no reason to share any private correspondence. At this point, I think my credibility speaks for itself. You guys know I'm not bullshitting you if I say I got an email from Hal Puthoff or Charles Chase or something like that. So I'm actually not going to even share the specifics with you guys. Some people in the Discord already saw some. Instead, what I'm going to tell you is what I learned. What I'm going to tell you is what I learned from the email, from reading between the lines, from way overthinking it. This is the part I think you guys will care about. First, let me tell you what I asked Charles Chase, why I even sent him an email. Number one, I know Charles Chase knows about all this technology. I know he knows about those orbs spinning around MH370. No question, no doubt. I would bet anything on it. Number one. Number two, I have a lot of questions, just like you all, that I want to understand about the nature of this technology. Not even just about what can the technology do. We've seen that free energy teleportation. I want to understand, how the hell did we get to this point? How are we at this point now where there's a group of people that know about science and physics and technology that is light years beyond where the public is at? So much so that it literally looks like aliens to us. I want to understand that. I literally cannot wrap my brain around it. Every day I'm sitting here going, how in the hell is this shit real? So I ask him a few questions. One, I was very coy at first, and I say, just like you guys say, somebody that knew, that worked in the program, the UFO alien shit, whatever it is, they would have what do you mean? They would have access to information about technology that nobody else would know about. And this is the giveaway. This is the thing where I can tell when an engineer is in the know instantly. I see Charles Chase, I can tell he knows immediately because I can see what he's talking about. So that was just me being coy with him, basically throwing out there, I know he knows. But the thing I wonder is this. Don't you guys wonder, why are more of these engineers not obsessed with life extension? If I was an engineer that's working on free energy technology, literally teleporting something from over here to over here, my next thought is, can I live forever? Where's the technology that's going to let me live forever? Because that's probably going to exist too. And I think it does with this physics. I think it does exist. I think they can reverse the clock on aging. So why are the engineers not more obsessed with living forever? Oppenheimer, or not Oppenheimer, but Edward Teller was supposedly obsessed with it. But of the other engineers I look at, they all seem fine to just go to their grave. They're like, yeah, it's okay. Life's over. All good. So somebody just said it in the chat. Is there, my thought process, my hypothesis is there's a spiritual rationale. Is that they understand something about the universe that makes them not care about living forever anymore. Maybe. And then I had asked Charles, I'd like to call him Dr. Chase. He deserves it more than most PhDs that I've ever met. I tell him, he strikes me as somebody that wants to help humanity. I can just tell from watching Charles Chase's videos that he wants to help humanity, right? But that he has to live within this box that he's, the NDAs and the information that he's collected from Lockheed Martin, he can't reveal it legally. Maybe even to save his life. And maybe he even agrees with keeping it secret. Right? Maybe these Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, Charles Chase, and the others, maybe they agree with keeping it secret. We don't know. So I wanted to get some idea of what he thinks about, where's his mindset at in terms of, do we deserve this technology? And then let me just look here. I straight up just told him at the end that I don't want to expose Charles Chase. In fact, quite the opposite. There are generals and scientists being murdered and disappearing left and right now. If any of these engineers that I've been talking about suddenly decide to go for a hike while their wife is at the doctor's appointment and leave their phone and bring their gun with and just vanish, we're going to go full on John Wick. That's going to be a full-on DEFCON 1 from MH370X. I'm talking, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to go to wherever the shit is where they disappeared. I'm going to do my own investigation on the ground, interviews with all the witnesses and everybody involved, and I'm going to find out what happened to these people. So do not disappear any of these engineers that I'm talking about. That includes Charles Chase, Hal Puthoff. I don't care if I've been talking shit about them or not. Don't touch my boys. They're not yours to mess with. Okay. So no, I don't want to expose them. They're the geniuses. The people that I want to expose are the people that are like, hey, you know, it'd be a good idea if we mess with China. If we like spin some orbs around a civilian airliner and zap it into the nether dimension. Because that's some psychotic shit. That's just some straight up movie villain beyond any movie shit I've ever seen. Thanos is looking at that going, dude, you're evil, bro. Thanos is like, I only snapped half the people, and there was a good rationale. You're just teleporting airplanes for no reason whatsoever, just for your jollies. It's dark, dude. Okay. So anyway, what you want to know is his response. First thing. He tells me what the UNLAB's purpose is. His new venture. What did Charles Chase decide to do after he quit Lockheed Martin? He could have done anything. The guy certainly doesn't need money anymore. There's no way you're a Lockheed Martin senior fellow and they haven't been, you know, fattening your pocketbook. No question. So he starts the UNLAB, dedicated to representing and speaking for the ideas themselves, quote unquote. Our goal, this is from like their website, our goal is to help turn breakthrough science into disruptive technologies for all people, the planet, and the biome. Now, chat. That's a little bit too libtarded for me, to be honest with you. You know, I'm all about rah, let's help out the people. I want to get free energy to the people, right? But at the same time, we have to realize not all people and cultures are equal. You know, the Nick Fuenteses of the world are right about one thing. We can't just ignore the fact that everybody's not exactly the same. I think that people start the same, but we grow apart significantly in some cases. But still, it doesn't matter. Now, the rest of this is just going to be, I'm going to give my context because I don't want to give Charles Chase's words away anymore. He sent this to me for me. But what he told me here is profound. I think the first thing, the revelation is that we're not ready. When I wanted to wonder, what is Charles Chase's perspective on disclosure? Is he a catastrophic disclosure guy? Obviously not. But he wants to help facilitate the ideas getting out there. That's why he started the UNLAB. And when we look at his UNLAB experiments, he is doing the things that are the cutting edge, extracting quantum energy, producing reactionless thrust or propulsionless thrust. All of the things that we know Lockheed Martin's got figured out. So he's somebody that's facilitating the ideas, but he knows we as humans are not ready for this technology. The letter to Ashton Forbes, one of the key parts of it, it says, I bet you heard the story that the aliens want to bless us with this advanced technology, but we're too young and rowdy of a civilization. That's partially true, but it's not aliens saying that. It's us again. Because if any two warring factions had this technology, the world would not last a day. What's crazy is that I've listened to that so many times, I can hear it in my head. Some people may think I sent that letter to myself. I guarantee you I did not. That shit is psycho as fuck. Okay. So Charles Chase, the world is not ready. We must all be ready for this technology. It has to be a collective understanding, a collective awakening. And the reality is we're just sitting around right now watching the show, we've figured out what it is, fusion propulsion. They've got particle accelerators in their little fusion reactor balls that can manipulate gravity, manipulate space-time. We're just waiting for everything to be revealed. And we're going to go, look, guys, we already knew it. We called it. Don't go blow your brains out. Let us go ahead and, you know, bring this down to reality for you. We're not there yet, though. That's the thing. We really aren't. If you look around and if you were to take your blinders off, even those of you who say, give us it all right now, we are not even close to ready. I mean, look at the conflict. Look at just, even going back to the politics, look at the narrative wars that occur in social media. What is that all for? Why is everybody lying about one another, trying to one-up each other in politics? All the backstabbing, the things that people do for money. Can a society survive with unlimited energy if we have these petty, useless fights that divide us in like horrible ways? Probably not. Probably not. If anything, social media has shown us we are not ready. Maybe we should delete social media and then maybe we'll be one step closer. Anyway, let's move on. Next thing he says. This was the next part he tells me. Blew me away. Because I know Charles Chase worked with Ben Rich. Ben Rich of the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. My favorite clip, if I'm being honest with you, to play is this one right here.
From the School of Engineering inviting me to a lecture by Ben Rich.
Ben Rich was the director of Lockheed's Skunk Works for 16 years. He oversaw a number of USABs that were secretly managed at the Skunk Works, including, most notably, the development of the F-117 stealth fighter.
Ben shared a slide set of about 40 slides of...
Charles Chase worked with Ben Rich on the F-117 Nighthawk fighter that they just mentioned. Ben Rich Charles Chase joined Lockheed Martin Skunk Works in 1986. That was his only job.
Different things, starting with the U-2 spy plane, going all the way up to the stealth fighter at that time, mentioning that he couldn't talk about the other secret stuff. But when he ended his talk, he had a slide of a black disc zipping off into outer space. And he ended his talk with these words: "We now have the technology to take ET home."
So you have to have vision, and you have to have the guts and the courage to go out past the steps and do something of any value, and we have to go past our grasp.
And we asked him questions about it. You know, what did you mean when you said we have the technology to take ET home? Ben shared three major things that I think are worthy of research by researchers worldwide at this point in time. First was, we've somehow figured out how to do interstellar travel already. It's known. The second point.
So this is very crucial, guys, because this is what some people are saying. It's just words, though. He was just joking. People say all this shit. He's not joking. It wasn't just words. He was saying this with a specific purpose because it's 100% true. This is what people do not want to accept about what Ben Rich said here. And there was people in attendance. You can't deny that he said this. The people, all their stories about what he said there are all consistent. Number one, he's clearly speaking about space propulsion. He's clearly saying we have discovered a method of propulsion that allows us to break the speed of light. That's the most important part. Next thing.
The point he made was that there was an error in the equations. My suspicion is it's probably Maxwell's equations for electromagnetic theory.
Correct again. We already know the second point. Where is the error in the math? If you were to say, show me where the math error is, it's in Maxwell's electromagnetic equations. The scalar potential was taken out. Now, essentially, what you do here is you say, if we add an extra dimension to our reality, the scalar potential becomes gravity. What this means is when we simplified Maxwell's equations, we threw out the extra dimension and we threw out our ability to manipulate gravity. We were still able to do everything else that you can see in our electromagnetic world except for manipulation of gravity. So Ben Rich has said, we have figured out new propulsion capability. Number 2, Maxwell's equations threw out gravity manipulation. Number 3.
The third thing he said was, how does ESP work? And I was really kind of startled because I didn't know what to say. But I blurted out, I don't know, all points in time and space are connected. And he looked me back in the eye and he said, that's how it works.
All points in time and space are connected. Speaking directly to the idea that there is an extra dimension and that every point in time and space is actually connected. But there's another way to also look at it. And this leads back to the email. What Charles Chase told me that shook me. I will quote this part. Everything is an interaction. Nothing exists except for interactions. And there are no separate entities. Everything is always interacting with something, and nothing is ever static. Holy shit. He speaks directly to this idea that really, if we were to look at our reality, everything is interconnected. When I move my hand over here, it affects over here. And that's a simplistic explanation, but that applies even at large scales. We live in a sort of ether where everything impacts everything else. If I pull something over here, it can impact something over here. He's saying the same thing that Ben Rich was saying in that video clip. Exact same thing. And he's saying we are the asymmetry, the non-equilibrium interactions of this medium. If you imagine a homogeneous medium, a flat, plain, boring medium, if you were to pull some of this energy out and mold it into a human, just like God in the Bible, that is what we are. We are energy that has been ripped from equilibrium, that exists in a stable state temporarily in the thing we call our lives. And you wonder why I say there's no inconsistency between faith and science? That is, to me, that is the story of Genesis, the story of life itself. So that email to me is something special that I will always think about. And I thank Charles Chase for that email because I truly do believe that he wanted me to know the answers to those questions. And I think he was telling me in a way that he can do so without becoming General McCasland, without going on a hike while his wife is at the doctor's, right? Wow. Let me see the other thing. Now, the only last thing that I didn't get an answer for that I'm curious about is why is Charles Chase not doing fusion? The guy built a compact fusion reactor for Lockheed Martin. He built Charles Chase, I'm not going to play the clip. He built a compact fusion reactor for Lockheed Martin. Why are we talking about fusion doesn't work? Why are we talking about fusion? He already did it like 8 years ago. So let me go to this clip. I asked him, I don't know, is this, maybe he has like a non-compete agreement. It's very common in work where like if you did something, you can't do something similar to that. And his non-competes are probably lifetime and like, you know, back of the head kind of stuff if you don't honor them. So I'm curious though, because the other possibility is that maybe microchips, tiny scale manufacturing, what if that can become more powerful than even fusion? Like Sonny White's technology right now. He's building the free energy microchip that's going to be like super uber tiny, right? What if turns out if you scale that up to its maximum efficiency, that's even more powerful than fusion? Could be. So I'm curious to see what his answer is to that. Yeah, there may be another layer. I want to keep an open mind here. My thought process has been that fusion is the ultimate tap into 0-point energy. It interacts directly with that medium. But maybe I'm wrong. Now, why am I bringing this up? Tonight's live stream is about Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and the physics. Whoever it was that turned me on to this, I did not know that Ben Rich wrote a book. Ben Rich wrote a book, chat. Wait. Oops, that's not the right one. We're coming back to that, though. Hold on to your butts. That wasn't the right one. This is the right one. Look at this. Skunk Works. Tom Clancy you got a quote from Tom Clancy on the cover of his book. So Ben Rich writes a book about his life in the Skunk Works, and he got Tom Clancy to put a quote on the top of it. Okay. So I looked through this a little bit. This is from 1976. I looked through this a little bit, and actually there's very little science in the thing. It's mostly about the development of various craft and projects that they worked on without any specific things that could potentially be considered classified. But quite a few interesting things in here. Let me pull up some of the screenshots, because the first thing I did was do a Control F for fusion. Nothing. Control F for a few other searches. Found very little. But then, I'll just show you actually. I did a Control F for electromagnetism. And what I saw is that there is a lot in here about radar and stealth. A lot in here about radar and stealth, and about making objects 1,000 times more stealthy, like major breakthroughs in stealth technologies. And why is this important? That's the entire basis for scalar physics. Scalar physics is taking those waves and using constructive and destructive interference to create gravitational ripples, create perturbations in space-time, to manipulate that extra dimension. So this book, to me, the parts about the radar, at least, are an insider's view for how Lockheed Martin was understanding scalar physics in the 70s and the 80s. Because that's exactly when Tom Bearden was talking about scalar physics as well. So you could even imagine now that Ben Rich isn't lying that this was new to him. They discovered this. This is actually when they discovered the radar technology, the stealth technology, the scalar physics. I think we can put a timeline to this. And this is part of the reason why I don't think this comes from aliens. I mean, they could just not be talking about the secret craft that they were working on, but you can see these discoveries and how they happen and the chronology of how they happen that led to 2014, us having some plasma orbs. So let me go to some of my, I took a few screenshots here from this book that I want to go through some key points. Let me see how I'm going to do this. Yeah, we'll do it like this. And then I'll probably read, I want to read the end of it where Ben Rich kind of gives his view of like what it's going to take for us in the future, which I thought was kind of cool. Window, this one, here we go. Okay. So this was that first search that I did. And this is the one where they are searching and they find Russian research on diffraction, on basically wave theory. And so now in this, they say, Ben, this guy has shown us how to accurately calculate radar cross sections across the surface of the wing and the edge of the wing and put together these two calculations for an accurate total. Denny saw my blank stare. Radar cross sections were a branch of medieval alchemy as far as the non-initiated were concerned. Making big objects appear tiny on a radar screen was possibly the most complicated, frustrating, and difficult part of modern warplane designing. A radar beam is an electromagnetic field, and the amount of energy reflected back from the target determines its visibility on radar. Oh, chat. They just write it in books. It's just out there in books. I keep thinking, I keep overestimating human intelligence. I keep thinking, there's no way they're just writing this shit down in books and people just have to read a book and find the answers. Of course, like literally, if we just read, we'd probably just have the answers. He's talking, and you think they didn't have some, it's like, this guy's talking about a major breakthrough in radar technology, radar calculations, and stealth technology. And you don't think they were able to have major breakthroughs that kept secret from the public? Where do you think this is all going to? This is going directly to gravity manipulation, for sure. For sure. This is where they figured it all out. Okay, next one. This one here. Pull this bad boy up. Oops. Here, let me just pull up all the screenshots real quick, chat. I got like 6 screenshots I want to share. That one, I think this is all of them. That one. And okay, I think I got them all. Maybe I missed one. I don't know. Here we go. Okay. This one. So most of our veterans use slide rules that were older than Denny's, and they would wonder why in the hell this young whippersnapper was suddenly perched on a throne as my guru, seemingly calling the shots on our first major project under my new and untested administration. This is Ben Rich. I tried to explain that stealth technology was in an embryonic state, and I barely understood until Denny's unearthed Umfetsets, that whatever Russian guy theory for us. They remained unconvinced even when I reminded them that Denny's had come along with his revelation. We had only known 2 possibilities to reduce airplanes' radar detection. One way was to coat the fuselage, tail, and wing surfaces with a special composite material that would absorb electromagnetic energy from radar waves instead of bouncing it back. The other method was to construct an airplane out of transparent material so that radar signals would pass through it. We tried an experimental transparent plane back in the 1960s, and to our dismay, discovered that the engine loomed 10 times bigger on radar than the airplane because there was no way to hide it. Wow. Holy shit. I literally can't believe this is just all written down in a book somewhere. So here you go. Here he's saying, we didn't even know radar stealth worked. We had like 2 ways where we could reduce stealth technology, and they were both pretty mediocre. One of them was we paint a special paint on our craft. And he's saying now this guy comes along with his presumably electromagnetic, I mean, it has to be radar is electromagnetic equations that can help us do the radar calculations. And now suddenly, I think they quote in here, the stealthiness increased by a factor of 1,000. Factor of 1,000? That's a lot. That is a lot. So I'm thinking now, thank you very much, Hey Ocean. I'm thinking now it's not about painting your craft in some special shit. Presumably you could do that if you were if you were advanced. No, they figured out it's plasma. They figured out use plasma. Now, the problem that they say there at the end, though, is your engine is always going to give an IR signature. Even if you reduce your signature, that engine is always going to give an infrared signature. And even in the MH370 videos, we can see our orb of plasma, our fusion engine flying around. It's a pretty small cross-section, if I were to say, but you can still see it flying around. It's probably invisible on radar, but we can see it on IR. One other part he mentions in here, which one of these does he say? Let me go back to the original real quick. I'll come back to this. He says drones. He uses the word drones specifically. Actually, 2 things. I forgot. I didn't even reference the most important part. 300. Oh, wait. Page 1. We are particularly grateful for the participation of Air Force and CIA pilots. Actually, the CIA is thanked several times throughout this, and CIA is referenced a lot. It's going to be hard to find the CIA. An experience with the latest Soviet equipment because the CIA had sourced spectacular covert success in acquiring their hardware by one means or another. What? So, you're telling me I'm looking at CIA surveillance of a covert operation against MH370 where some fucking plasma orbs, fusion reactors, come flying out of nowhere and zap the plane in a wormhole. And now, for the first time in my life, I'm reading Ben Rich's autobiography. And in here, he's saying that they worked closely with the CIA. Chat. How crazy can this possibly get? So he's working directly with the CIA. Let me go back to this other one. I really wanted a photographer around for historical purposes to capture the expression on Kelly's brooding moon-shaped mug when I showed him the electromagnetic chamber results. So they tested it. It was exactly as Denny's had predicted, 1,000 times stealthier than the 12-year-old drone. Whoa. This is now the first time in any of my research that I've done so far where I've seen drone technology get referenced. One of the first things that I revealed or realized about the MH370 videos, those plasma orbs are drones. And if I were to say what is their purpose is to be stealthy. That's why they're a plasma bubble, because that thing is immune to radar. If I were to say, hey, if you were to say, Ashton, how much more stealthy is that plasma drone than our F-35s? I'd say 1,000 times more stealthy. That's probably how I'd answer you. Do you get what I'm getting at here? Yes, I'm making insinuations. I am insinuating that they figured out secret plasma technology. That is exactly what I'm insinuating. The test results matched Denny's computer calculations was the first proof that we knew what the hell we were doing. Wow. So that was Ben Rich telling the story about how he won a bet against one of the other guys, like top brass guys. He won a bet and he came in and said, this is my right-hand man. He figured out the secret radar technology and calculations. This is like Moneyball for black projects. The movie Moneyball, where they bring in the genius guy, the brainiac, hire all the cheap dudes. This is him being like, dude, let's steal that Russian radar science. And then we're going to go ahead and use that. And then they took it to the next level. Okay, last screenshot here on this one. How do I zoom out a little bit? What did I want to say on this part? One of the things I mentioned here is they were talking about making something that could be deployed from the sky to eliminate electromagnetic emissions. There were no internal radar systems on board. So here they're talking about what are they doing to make their craft stealthy? One of the things, they try to go slower. If you go slower, it's easier to be stealthy. They wanted to make sure that it was quiet. They wanted to make sure that it would not create contrails. Like, listen to all of this stuff. The reason why I screenshotted this one is realize how much they're thinking about. Look at all these things they're thinking about when they're thinking about aircraft design. And when you think about that, you go, of course they developed the orbs or were involved in the technology. All of the things we see in the MH370 plasma, those fusion reactors, someone was at a table and they were thinking about, how do we solve these problems? And they go, hey, fusion is a good solution to these. Can we actually do fusion, though? Oh, but if we do fusion, do we have to tell the public? Well, we're a private company. We don't really need to tell the public if we figure out fusion. That's what happened. And they're not developing a craft that somebody's going to fly in. They're developing a drone. What did they say here? Now, this is significant because this is from 1976, but it's the year 2026, 50 years later, and we are now afraid of this drone technology. If you go on the media now, everybody's blowing the whistle, getting everybody afraid about these drones. And here it is, Lockheed Martin, they did it 50 years ago. So let's read off the end of his book. What is it that Ben Rich learned from his time at Lockheed Martin? What does he want people to know in general? Also, there's a bunch of cool photos in here. Let's go look at those. Okay. Some random photos here. Let's zoom in a little bit. I think these are all addendums. Pretty cool, man. These guys are, like, I have so much respect for the engineers that were building this stuff in the Cold War. I mean, it's just cool. But the problem is that all institutions can be corrupted. And I can definitely see if you're developing secret technology, that's just going to get corrupted. And what worries me, what really worries me, is that we're blaming it on aliens. That I think we figured this out. Science figured this out. And I think they've been blaming this shit on aliens. And they're going to avoid accountability because of it. Where's the part about his findings? Let's see here. There's a hyperlink down here at the bottom. Also, I'll give you guys the link, I think. So, drawing the right conclusions. Here we go. In my 40 years at Lockheed, I worked on 27 different airplanes. This is Ben Rich. Today's young engineer will be lucky to build even one. The life cycle of a military airplane is far different from the development and manufacturing of anything else. Obsolescence is guaranteed because outside of a secret, high-priority project environment like the Skunk Works, it usually takes 8 to 10 years to get an airplane from the drawing board onto production. Every combat airplane that flew in Operation Desert Storm was at least 10 to 15 years old by the time it actually proved its worth on the battlefield. We are now entering an era in which there may be a 20 to 30-year lapse between generations of military aircraft. Wow. What an amazing find. Here he is essentially explaining we have technology that is way beyond what you're seeing in the public. And as an example, look at conventional craft. Even your conventional F-22s, F-35s, these things have been in development. They were built 10 to 15 years before they ever go out and they're actually seen out there. And he's saying future ones will be like even longer. The secret shit's going to take 20 to 30 years minimum before it's even seen on the battlefield. How crazy is that? So when people are saying, Ashton, why aren't they using this in Iran? Because we got to wait another fucking 20 years before they will even use it publicly. Then we'll see it. Then we'll know. And I think we're watching that play out with the discombobulator. Now we can start to use some of these technologies publicly, but only a little bit. Crazy, man. Whether we as a nation will develop intelligent military planning and spending policies in the post-Cold War era, I will leave to futurists and politicians to argue about. Chat, he was talking to us. Ben Rich was talking to us. Futurists, high IQ futurists. Here we are, Ben. Ben, we hear you. We hear you from the beyond. We hear you, Ben. Thank you. Is one of our saints, our patron saint, Ben Rich. He's speaking to us high IQ futurists. No coincidences in this world, chat. My interest is the future survival of skunkworks as being a widely adopted concept and understanding the key reasons for its unsurpassed success. See, to me, this is not something somebody says if they stole some alien technology. This is something you say where you figured out a whole new way of innovation. And you're like, hey, I want this model to be an example for how we should work. But you know what? When I read this, I go, wow, they corrupted this. Ben Rich died and the money people took over. Ben Rich died and all the power vacuum in his absence was sucked up by evil people that wanted to make money. And that's why we've seen the suppression since his death in the 90s. Will the future be anywhere nearly as bright as its past? What a crazy thing to say. Huh. He's saying the Skunk Works was amazing, but will it continue to be amazing in the future? It depends. To my mind, the leaner and meaner Washington becomes in doling out funding for defense, the more pressing the need is for Skunk Works. It says, hey, if you want to be efficient, you should do what we're doing at the Skunk Works. Let's see. Yet if times stay tough and the new world order, all caps, evolves without any new big power confrontations, the need for innovative, rapidly developed, and relatively inexpensive systems that are the best supplied by Skunk Works will be greater than ever. Chat, why does he say New World Order? Chat, we need to make memes about this, chat. I'm actually kind of bugging out about this right now. Why does he say New World Order, chat? Why does he capitalize it like this? Like, does he ever reference New World Order other than this in this whole book? This is crazy, bro. This is fucking crazy, bro. This is crazy. So, I mean, the reason why this is crazy is we believe there is a breakaway civilization that has essentially taken this technology and they've been hiding it and they've been making sure that we never find out about it. And here you go, him just throwing out New World. This is 1976 he wrote this book. This is some straight up deep state calling the deep state out before the deep state even existed. Before the deep state even existed. And he's basically saying the United States government, this deep state, controls the world. And he's saying what will matter here is, are there going to be any major confrontations between like Russia and China? And if so, you will need low-cost solutions, drone technology, orb technology, for example, that the Skunk Works can develop. Boom. There you go. Let's see. Let's scroll to the end. In today's business climate, I don't think a Skunk Works would be feasible if it could not rely on the resources of the parent entity to supply the facilities, tools, and workers for a particular project, and then return them to the main plant when the task is completed. What? Is that how Skunk Works works, chat? I didn't know, but if this is true here, this makes a lot of sense. They pull people in from other projects to do Skunk Works projects. They do those secret projects and then they go back out. That would actually make so much sense, because isn't that what I've been saying all these engineers do? Is that they get these contracts and then they go do this work for a couple of weeks and they do some experiments or whatever. They sign a bunch of NDAs and then they go away. Let's see. What else do I want to say about this part? So basically, it's about the... oh, yeah, this is the last part I wanted to get to. So he talks about the funding. But then this part. New technology cannot be put on a shelf. It must be used. And the desperate need is trying to find ways to drastically reduce costs that would allow new generations of aircraft to evolve within the parameters of extremely modest defense expenditures. That will be the greatest challenge facing the Pentagon and the defense industry in the years to come. I'm going to answer one of those other questions. Why do we not use the orbs to end every conflict? Well, how much do you think those orbs cost, chat? How much do you think a fusion reactor particle accelerator costs? I mean, how do you even put a price tag on it? How much research and development even went into building it? Could be billions of dollars each. The price tag on those orbs makes them cost prohibitive, in addition to us just not wanting to use them. And if we can't mass produce them because we don't want to make them public, their price goes up even more. But Ben Rich is here saying we have to use the technology because if we don't use it, then we can't iterate on it. Then we can't fund it. If we don't use the technology, we can't put money towards it to make it cheaper. Essentially, what he's saying is we can't get fusion to the public if we don't invest the money in the fusion research. And contrary to popular belief, the amount of money these people get paid for weapons development is very small. As somebody that works in healthcare IT, which is mostly a service industry, I can tell you 100%, I'm shocked at how little money the engineers make for developing breakaway technology, breakthrough technology. Okay. So the cost part of this is huge. It's not a matter of, hey, just give me more money, give me more money. It's the reality of the production process and how that leads to innovation and how that technology gets revealed to the public over these very long periods of time. So this keeps going for like several more pages. So I'm just going to go ahead and give, what did we learn from this? Lockheed Martin's been working with the CIA. Ben Rich has worked on every advanced project, or worked on all of these advanced 27 different planes. He straight up says it's decades from the technology being developed behind the scenes and it getting out to the public. Now, who would have access to it in the interim? The CIA. The CIA has direct access to this technology. They're the secret keepers of all of it. They're the ones that can decide if they want to deploy it because they're the ones working to help develop it behind the scenes, apparently. Radar technology and let's not say advent, but the breakthrough in radar technology was developed from this guy, Denny's, Denys, that was Ben Rich's right-hand man. Ben Rich's right-hand man rewrote the book on radar stealth wave theory. And that is the basis for scalar physics, manipulating gravity, the extra dimension. And the same Ben Rich, before he died, was going around saying, we have figured out faster than light travel. And the answer is in Maxwell's equations for scalar potential that was thrown out. Direct connection between what Ben Rich is confirmed to have said and now in his book that his right-hand man was the expert on radar waves. Boom. CIA, you are fucked. God, I can't wait for that plaque in the CIA that says, Ashton Forbes got us. Every CIA agent, officer, whatever, when you go in, you have to look at that board. It says, Ashton Forbes got us. Got to be a little bit better next time, I guess, chat. Okay. Next thing, guys. Wait, what is the next thing? I already forgot my own things, chat. I already forgot my own things. Oh, yeah. NASA BPP. Okay. So not only is Lockheed Martin all up in this orb technology, the other major thing that's in this same time window that my spider sense can't get over is the NASA Breakthrough Physics Propulsion. What do they call it? Conference, project, whatever they called it. So today, somebody, sent this over. We're going to take a look at it. And yes, for the record, Ashton, are you saying that aliens aren't traveling millions of years on comets looking for random objects that might be coming by? I swear to goodness, chat, Any physicist tries to tell me the aliens are flying around randomly on space rocks that are hurling at super low speeds through the galaxy, just get out. Just get out and don't come back. My goodness. How can you call yourself a physicist if you think that's what aliens are doing? Seriously. Okay, where is it? Here we go. So this is one of the major overall papers about the NASA Breakthrough Physics Propulsion Workshop. That's what I guess we're going to call it, a workshop. 1998, NASA Lewis Research Center, workshop proceedings, or 1999. Who did they thank in this? Did they thank anyone in particular? No, no one in particular. Okay. So these guys basically come in here and they're supposed to try to figure out faster than light travel. Like if you boil this down, this whole thing, this whole workshop, it's can we do faster than light travel? And can we extract quantum energy? Seems like a magical thing to say. That's like their whole thing they're trying to figure out. So let's just look at the list of the presentations and the people that were involved in this. I start looking through this and I'm just wondering, WTF is going on here? So I'm going to go ahead and say, let me just repeat this. Number one, Lockheed Martin, show us your orbs. Show orbs. Right? Show orbs. Number two, this BPP spider sense is going crazy, Chad. If they figured out teleportation, those people that were at that BPP, those people figured it out. Those are the ones where they were meeting of the minds. CIA was in the back corner smoking cigarettes or whatever. Smoky man from the X-Files. And they're going, yes. We just figured out teleportation. Okay. Zoom in here. Sorry if it's hard to read. I'll read it for you guys. Invited presentations. And by the way, Mark Millis is the guy that was the main guy. I've got a video of him too, guys. I have videos of everybody. By the way, I don't know why people come at me. Ashton Forbes is very good at his research. Chad, if you talk shit, you best make sure you don't have any skeletons in your closet. Ashton Forbes will find them.
At the same time in the U.S.,
this is Mark Millis, BTW.
NASA began a parallel project.
What? What am I watching right there? So, Mark Millis, let me get this straight. Some producer from some science TV show says, Mark Millis, we want to do a clip thing of you, real spooky, of you driving up to NASA, talking about wink, wink. We did some research on gravity and, interstellar propulsion and all this stuff. And he goes, yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. Make it extra spooky. Add extra spooky music to it. This is why I emailed Mark Millis, because when I see that, I go, this guy, do you want to tell me? You want to tell me something? I'm here. I'm just chilling. Hey, Mark Millis, if you're out there, buddy, you want somebody to talk to about maybe what you discovered during the BPP, Ashton Forbes is right here. Private conversation, live stream, whatever you want. Whatever you want, we'll make it happen. Okay, let's take a look. I'm not building this up for no reason. Invited presentations. Propellantless propulsion, the most inefficient way to fly. Lawrence Krauss. Where's my Chick-fil-A girl? I wish I had the Chick-fil-A girl meme here. Lawrence. So this is the only one. I can't understand what I'm reading right now. Lawrence Krauss, the guy Jeffrey Epstein was hosting gravity conferences with. I'm going to repeat that. Lawrence Krauss, the guy Jeffrey Epstein was hosting gravity conferences with, was the first speaker. And his presentation is how it's all stupid. His presentation is that propellantless propulsion is the most inefficient way to fly. Somebody find me this presentation. We're not going to review it tonight, but I'm trying. This is like in complete contrast with all of the rest of the presentation. Did they just hire one token retard? They're like, hey, we need a token retard. They're like, Lawrence Krauss might be available, chat. Lawrence Krauss might be available. Let's get him to be the first speaker. He'll be the one to come in and say, this is all stupid. We shouldn't be doing any of this. Jesus Christ. Why propellantless propulsion is the most inefficient? I don't know. Do you know how math works? Probably not. Okay. Next one. Can the vacuum be engineered for space flight applications? Now we're getting serious. Who wrote that? Oh, Hal Puthoff. We're going to get a lot of use out of this one tonight. Okay, so we moved past Lawrence Krauss, and now we're talking about space-time manipulation with Hal Puthoff, the OG, the smoky man himself, Hal Puthoff. Hal Puthoff, who could have your whole family killed probably with like with one phone call. Next, quantum optical studies of tunneling times and superluminality. Raymond Chow, University of California, Berkeley. This guy's been mentioned several times, but now I'm wondering, that right there speaks to teleportation. Why? Because we know now that teleportation, macroscopic quantum teleportation, is a tunneling phenomenon. You're tunneling through the 0-point energy of our space-time. This is why they had this guy here. They had him and the next one here because they knew the exact thing that Eric Weinstein was telling Eric Davis. Eric Weinstein told Eric Davis, general relativity doesn't tell you how to teleport in a coordinate system. In fact, doesn't even really give you the physical mechanism at all. That's where you need quantum mechanics. This is why we need a unification theory to teleport. Because general relativity, bending space-time isn't enough. Bending space-time is half the battle. The other half the battle is how do you figure out where you're going to go? How do you direct your beam? How do you match your beams up so that you always tunnel through the wall? That's what they needed. Thank you, Raymond Chow, for your contributions. Next, quantum non-locality and possible superluminal effects. Faster than light effects. Quantum entanglement, they already knew faster than light effects were real because we saw it in quantum entanglement, otherwise known as non-locality. So they brought in the GOAT. They brought in the expert. They brought in Darth Kramer, chat. He kind of reminds me of Sidious. What did we call it? Dude from Star Wars. John Kramer, University of Washington. The expert on EPR experiments. They brought him in because John Kramer knows everything about retrocausality, quantum entanglement, signaling, all of it. There it is right there. John fucking Kramer. You know what? We're going to play the clip, even though it's going to make the live stream a little bit longer, and I got video games to play, chat. This guy.
I'm talking about reaching the stars by accelerating a wormhole to very high velocities and shooting them at the stars and using relativistic time dilation to get there almost instantaneously.
So you fly through the wormhole?
You send the wormhole there, send momentum-bearing particles through it to steer it around to where you want it. You land it, and then you expand it and get out and explore the planet.
I see.
Well, isn't that special? Oh, the guy that was explaining non-locality, is out here giggling like a schoolgirl about how wormholes are going to work. I tell you, chat, I just can't believe that this shit's real. I keep looking at it myself, at the engineers. I'm looking at them in their eyes while he's giggling like a schoolgirl about wormholing some shit. And I just can't believe how it's real. I just can't believe how it's real. So anyway, someone talk me down, chat. If I'm going full schizo here on this, talk me down, because I'm staring at the names on the paper. It's all coming together here. Even Lawrence Krauss, Epstein associate. This shit is sus as fuck, chat. Okay. Granular superconductors and gravity. This speaks to the idea that superconductors, spinning superconductors, could produce anti-gravitational effects like Ning Li, like Plotkinov. Apparent endless extraction of energy from the vacuum by cyclic manipulation of Casimir cavity dimensions. Robert Forward. Robert Forward was at this too. Eric Davis's mentor was giving presentations. By the way, I have an inside scoop on this. Apparently, he got a huge amount of criticism for this, where people claimed there was something wrong in his theory or his math, or it didn't end up working out. And it might be real. He might have had an actual mistake in that. But what he was trying to do, he was trying to show if you maybe change the geometry of the Casimir cavity experiment, you might be able to create a situation where the plates perpetually come back and forth together and you get perpetual energy out of them. So he was looking for free energy solutions to the Casimir cavity experiment. Pretty crazy. Robert Forward, Eric W. Davis's mentor, the guy that was discussing with Eric Weinstein on Jesse Michaels' podcast. That's his mentor right there. The next one, the 0-point field and NASA's challenge to create the space drive by Bernard Haish of Lockheed Martin. Bernie Haish, 0-point energy expert, Lockheed Martin engineer, co-wrote papers with Hal Puthoff and Ruda about 0-point energy, explaining gravity, inertia, and mass. Holy shit. It really is just a who's who of all of our DIRD authors and Black Project engineers. Oh, and for the record, people will wonder this. I'm going to crash out when I realize who the nefarious ones actually know. This is the thing, you guys. I know those people control the world. I just don't see the world as black and white like everybody else does. Charles Chase is right. The world's not ready for this technology. So you can either be one of the sheep and the cattle, or you can be one of the people that rises above it. Nobody's going to change the world. Nobody's going to really change the balance of power in this world, not in some short period of time. It will take a long time for us to shift the way things are. Anyway, I'm fully prepared for the truth, Fram. Fully prepared. Next, inertial mass as reaction of the vacuum to accelerated motion. So what they're saying here is the reason why things have mass at all, the reason why this bottle cap falls, is because of accelerated motion through the 0-point energy field. There you go. And that is by Alfonso Ruda and Bernard Haish, the guys I was just talking about. And here's Cole. Calculations on electromagnetic 0-point contributions to mass. Daniel Cole, co-wrote the paper with Hal Puthoff, where they show that the Casimir effect does not violate thermodynamics. Because people say, hey, If you just have two plates and they're just chilling here, you don't do anything, and they just come together, well, that energy, all of a sudden, energy just came from nowhere. How can these plates just come together with no interaction? Because theoretically, this motion could charge a battery. You could get energy out of that. So what you're saying is energy just appeared out of nowhere. So people look at this, physicists look at the Casimir experiment, and this was before they understood what it really meant. Some still don't understand it. And they say, no, that violates the laws of thermodynamics. No, it doesn't. Why does the plates coming together not violate the laws of thermodynamics? Because that energy you're getting out of that is from the 0 point energy field. It's from an alternate outside source. That's why it doesn't violate the laws of thermodynamics. That's why the plates come together without you doing anything at all. The Casimir effect unequivocally proves that 0 point energy can be extracted. What it doesn't prove is that it can be extracted perpetually. That's why Robert Forward was doing this presentation, because he wanted to prove that 0 point energy could be extracted perpetually. Not just the one time, but perpetually extracted. Now, he might have been wrong, but he was trying. Okay, next. Casimir effects, evidence and implications. A Los Alamos Labs engineer. Los Alamos, guys. As in where Ferris Williams was an engineer. Los Alamos engineer saying, hey, this is the Casimir effect and what the Casimir effect can do. So you tell me, guys, do you think all these scientists and engineers from Los Alamos, Lockheed Martin, etc., are all wrong? And the academics are right? Or are these guys all right? And 0 point energy can be extracted and used in useful engineering purposes. And all the academics that are stupid that don't understand 0 point energy, are they all wrong? I'll let you be the judges. I'll let you come to your own conclusions. A new theory of gravitation and the fifth test. Hyper-fast interstellar travel via modified space-time jump. That one sounds interesting. Another Los Alamos Labs engineer. Ultra-relativistic rockets and the ultimate future of the universe. Now here, speaking about ultra-relativistic rockets, using relativistic effects, speeding a particle towards the speed of light. When I say that the orbs are particle accelerators, this is why. Relativistic effects are the cheat code. They are the cheat code that Einstein gave us. And then this one. Possible evidence of anomalous energy effects in hydrogen deuterium-loaded solids, low-energy nuclear reactions, otherwise known as cold fusion. The presenter, George Miley. Chat, George Miley. George Miley, chat, cold fusion. There he fucking is, chat. If you said, Ashton, give me one engineer that you have the highest probability contributed to the development of the plasma orbs we see, it's George Miley. This guy might be the #1 expert in the world on cold fusion. He's still alive somehow in his 90s. He's the guy. Additional papers that were involved here. Replication of experiment which produced anomalous energy. So remember, what did I say about cold fusion? There was 60 successful recreations showing anomalous energy. Good night, Siljo X. Appreciate you. Seen you around a long time. Just want to say good night. 60 successful recreations. The reason why they're talking about cold fusion here is because they know it's real and they know that shit got covered up and they don't care that the academics don't believe it. Let's skip through a couple of the others. Wormhole-induced propulsion by Eric W. Davis. Boom! Drop the mic, chat. Wormhole-induced propulsion by Eric W. So what you can see is they were bringing all these people together, all these ideas together to figure out how to actually produce an engineerable wormhole, something that could really be engineered in our reality that wasn't just theoretical, by bridging all the gaps in this knowledge that these people had. Study of M-theric Alcubierre drive warp solutions. Michelson-Morley on the space shuttle. Testing, what do you think? The ether. They're testing for an extra dimension. I guarantee you there's already experimental proof of an extra dimension, and we're just ignoring it. That's why I say don't even bother doing this. They already have the experimental proof. They're just not giving it to us. They're not promoting it. Observational search for negative matter and intergalactic voids. Robert Forward. Experiments to explore space coupling by specially conditioned electromagnetic fields. That's a precursor right there to a magnetic wormhole. Using electromagnetic fields to manipulate space-time to create our invisible bridge, our invisible tunnel. And who wrote that one? David Froning. David Froning is the co-author of the paper about the dense plasma focus with George Miley. That David Froning right there. This is a who's fucking who of all the Black Project engineers as far as I can tell. I don't even recognize all of them. The fact that I recognize like half of them is shocking to me. Anyway, any others? Couple others that I tangentially can recognize, but there's Mark Millis. Any others? You guys get the point, though. A lot of good names in here. Pretty cool. James Woodward. There's James Woodward, Mach Principle. Charles Yost. And so look at this thing. Breakout discussion groups. Man, I would have loved to have been at this thing. Absolutely amazing. So, guys, what did we learn here? Possibly, they figured out teleportation, wormholes, gravity manipulation. They probably already had gravity manipulation figured out, and they were pulling together the people that knew about it. Lockheed Martin engineers, Los Alamos engineers, and then you have to have the token retard. You have to have one token dissenter, so they brought in Lawrence Krauss. They said, find us whoever's connected to Epstein, bring that guy in here. Have him be the one that will speak out against all this. He'll say, this is all stupid, all a waste of time. And then everybody else after that will all talk about 0-point energy and manipulating space-time. Incredible. But it's not just theory. People say they're just making this stuff up. It's not real. Here you go. Pulsar fusion achieves first plasma in nuclear fusion rocket engine. Startup successfully ignites world's first fusion rocket. Space propulsion company Pulsar Fusion has achieved first plasma in its Sunbird nuclear fusion rocket designed to propel rockets faster than any object has ever traveled. Published March 26, 2026. Now, I got bad news. I got bad news for you, Pulsar Fusion. You ain't the first, son. You ain't the first. And you won't be the last. However, still pretty cool. Still pretty cool, chat. So when people say, because you can already see it happen, people are going to say, Ashton, you were just accidentally right. You were accidentally right about fucking fusion propulsion. Remember, I was talking about fusion propulsion years before the first ever successful test of fusion propulsion. Years before, like 3 years before this. But still pretty cool, guys. Okay. Now, what do I got for you? One more video. Where did I put it? I got a moment of zen for you guys tonight, chat. Oh, 2 more things, actually. What should we do first? Let's do this one first. We got one more commentary. I'm a pundit now, chat. I'm an influencer now. I'm a pundit. I do things. I'm very special. Here we go. Apparently, aliens are demons. I'm going to be real with you, chat. I'm probably not going to vote for JD Vance. I mean, I will if it comes down to it. But I want Marco Rubio. I want Marco Rubio because I think he's more serious. I think the guy doesn't mess around. I like the way he deals with the media. I like the way he speaks his mind. I think he says what he means, and I trust him. I trust him to make sure that the libtards never get 0-point energy technology. I trust him to make sure that nobody who would strap a bomb to themselves or would dye their hair purple and put a nose ring in can never, ever have this technology. That's the reason why I trust Marco Rubio. Anyway, go ahead, JD Vance. Where's the thing?
You're going to release all the UFO files?
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay. Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
Have I what?
Have you done?
Press X to doubt, chat. Press X to doubt. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, look, yes, this is going to be a little egotistical. As the guy that I think figured out this whole UFO thing, like more than basically anybody else on planet Earth, I don't think you're going to get to the bottom of it, my man. It's a pretty dark, deep rabbit hole. You need a lot of physics understanding. And it's not just as simple as, duh, the aliens are there. It's pretty dark. Anyway, good luck. Here we go.
On a peek? I mean, like,
So I actually haven't. I
the
have
full
not.
Independence Day,
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it, but I am going to. Trust me, I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this. And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet?
Not yet.
Some
not
people
yet.
say they keep the UFOs in Ohio. You know, they might,
Hangar 18, Hangar 18, right?
This is so boomer, chat. This is the most boomer shit I've ever heard. It's cringe. Like this idea that like you're just going to go to Area 51, just going to show up and be like, okay, take me to S4 now. And yes, let's go to subsection 31 where the craft is hiding at. Like, is that in your mind? Is that how you think it plays out? That's how you think it's going to work? Yeah, it ain't going to happen, chat. Like this is where I'm saying like, I think that they've gotten brain rot from the Marvel movie slop. The Marvel movie slop has rotted their brains, and they think that the alien bodies are in a cryo chamber on sub-basement 31 in Area 51, right? That's not disclosure, man. Disclosure is you learning that there's an extra dimension. Disclosure is learning about the radar technology that Ben Rich was working on that they turned into some plasma shit. Plasma fusion reactor. That's disclosure. And that doesn't require going to any sub basements, or it doesn't even require access to classified information. What it requires is using your brain. It requires using your brain and understanding science. Please don't say anything more stupid during the rest of this 1-minute clip, JD Vance, because your stock is falling. Stock is falling. And I want the best for you. Don't mess us up. Here we go.
I've heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay.
I'm scared, chat.
We're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov.
You know me.
We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go with.
Oh no, chat. They're demons now. Oh. How anti-scientific do we have to get, chat? Do we have to start communing with the dead? Are the demons going to start whispering in our ears now? Do we have to agree that Tucker Carlson got scratched by demons now? It's not that I'm against this idea in general. It's that I'm against them floating it out there like this so willy-nilly. It's like you have no idea what's going on with this UFO thing. And I think it's demons. Like, you're the vice president. How about let's just inform ourselves a little bit about what's going on here? I look at this in the same vein that I look at the Congress people that are going, I think they're the interdimensional entities. You're like, okay, maybe, but like the way you're presenting that isn't going to come off the way that we want to explain it to people from a scientific perspective. I don't want people thinking that the interdimensional beings are going to slip through our reality and grab them, you know? I just want people to understand that, like, we can fold space-time and jump, right? Like, that's a different understanding of the world. Or that, like, aliens could, in theory, be the demons of the Bible, but that doesn't mean they're going to be swirly, mustache-villing, evil entities. So I want to be able to separate the what do we say? Superstition, the superstition from the physical reality of the phenomenon. That's what I want. Anyway, keep going, JD.
Follow up on that. Because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, yeah, aliens are real, but like, here's where they're not. And, you know, and so Obama says, yes, aliens are, he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? Oh, yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51. And
well, where are they, bro?
Well, that's what he says. Right. There's a great question. Trump had to go save him, and he said he's going to declassify.
Okay. So he's not even aware of Obama's statements. He says he's obsessed with the UFO thing, but he's not even aware of Obama's statements where he makes this huge proclamation about aliens are, of course, real out there somewhere. And then he goes, well, if they're not at Area 51, where are they? Okay, now you're just coming across as stupid. Now JD Vance is just coming across as ignorant. Like, well, just stop talking, please. Please just stop talking. You're ruining my entire view of you right now, JD.
So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything is otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there. And there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, you know, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
You know what, chat? I give up. You know what? I'm straight up anti-disclosure now, I think. JD Vance just blackpilled me on disclosure, chat. I don't want disclosure anymore. In fact, I don't want disclosure for anybody anymore. You know what? Keep the aliens safe. No disclosure for anybody. Humans clearly are not ready and cannot accept this reality. And I'm straight up just concerned about people's mental well-being when the truth is shown to them. If you show a man like this some plasma orbs, I'm afraid the dude is going to start straight up a cult or start worshiping them. There's a non-zero chance people are going to do that. What has my God done for me? The giant head in the sky is literally controlling the weather. Whew. Yeah, I just don't know about this one, chat. So I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? Let's just put this one back in the box. Forget the aliens. There's no aliens. Don't worry about them. Keep the aliens safe. No disclosure for anyone. Not until we can understand basic science, basic physics principles. Then, when we have shown that we can understand science, then we can have a little bit of aliens. Then you can get some alien bootay, a little poontang, so to speak. Okay, guys. One more thing. Our moment of Zen tonight. I actually can't believe this is real. I actually think people might literally be ripping off our shit, ripping off our ideas, which on one side is pretty cool. Pretty cool. On the other side, pretty weird. So what I want to say, actually, I don't know. Here's a clip. Whatever. I don't even know where this is from.
What the hell happened here anyway? Pop version of the truth. Truth? Some quantum engineers were brought in years ago by DARPA to try to create a multidimensional shift in the region. The idea was to do some kind of interdimensional surveillance using the fusion power. But a rift happened. Instead of being able to spy in other dimensions, it affected the subatomic structure of the area, affecting the ecosystem. Physics different, laws different. The fragment that got through affected the physics.
Wait, did that guy say that they did a fusion experiment to react quantum reality? What the hell? This is really on the nose. Guys, I'm a little afraid that new Steven Spielberg disclosure movie is going to have like 3 orbs spinning around and teleporting someone. Chat, if that shit happens, they stole that shit from us, chat. They stole it from us. Anyway, pretty cool that these ideas are leaking out there into the media and into the public. That is supposedly a new show from 2027, 2026, whatever year it is right now. Hold on, let me find it for you guys. I got it. It's called The Dresden Sun, 2026 science fiction heist film written and directed by Michael Ryan. So if you want to check that out, that is your moment of Zen tonight. Let's do the super chats, guys. Thank you, Brewbark. Appreciate the cookie. Ashton, are you familiar with the work of Malcolm Bendel? Yes, I'm familiar with the work of Malcolm Bendel and Dan Winter. Actually, both are interesting takes. I have spoken about and to Malcolm Bendel before. I was at the Cosmic Summit. And if you want to know more, you can go back and check out those old live streams. I think he's a nice guy. And I think his physics I think he understands the right ideas, but there's certain reasons why I don't associate or to go deeper into that. Dan Winter I also like as well, and I have absolutely nothing against Dan Winter. I probably should talk to him at some point. I think he's right. The one thing about Dan Winter and some other engineers is how they all try to like put their own name on things. They have their own names or something, kind of like how Randall Mills has his hydrino theory, but it's really just 0-point energy. It's like, this is the part where I don't want to get in the middle of all this. I came up with it. No, my idea is right. No, I came up with it. A lot of people are trying to do that because they know that when your name gets stuck to something, you're stuck to that in physics forever. They want to be, they want to have a lasting impact. So yeah, I probably should talk to him. I like Dan Winter. I think he's right. Raising Cain gifted a whole bunch of gold pills. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And thank you, John Glock, for hanging out. Guys in the Rumble chat have figured out how to do super chats. I didn't even think it was possible. Laughing Cat. Buy a $2 treat for Lulu. I'll give her one. Lulu, come get a treat. And then Not Yoda. I love spending my Monday, Wednesday, Friday with you guys. Thank you. MH370X fam. That's from Not Yoda, guys, for that $10 super chat. Appreciate you. And then we got a bunch of super chats here. XLX Squee. I say have a test of sorts to tell those who pass and those who show they are ready to leave the rest to guess. Yeah, I agree, actually. Basically, what he's saying there is that we should have some kind of test, some bar that says, are you ready for this technology? Have you shown you are worthy? How messed up is that? We might have to have like a citizenship test for this technology. Hey, have you passed this test? Okay, then we're going to chip you. We're going to put your brain chip in you or whatever so that we can track you and make sure you're not going to make a black hole weapon that wipes us all out. Not going to lie, we got some totalitarian, dystopian future ahead of us, guys. UHT-EPR, Yuan proves it derived H, A, C, and G to first principles. And yes, what you're going to find, I think we've reached the point where basically anyone now can take the science and physics, the groundwork of the papers that I've laid out, and you can solve physics. You can unify the equations. And then the only question is whether or not people accept it. You can unify it with extra dimension. You can solve and achieve Planck's constant, calculate the speed of light from first principles using this extra dimension. And many people have done it. And that's what I say. They're all going to be vying for who's going to get credit. Not me. I don't care. I just want that Pulitzer Prize, chat. I got that thing locked up. Tiny Lens Tales YouTube says, ask JD Vance if you can go with him to Area 51. Yes, bring me there. If they bring me there, we have a chance. By the way, here you go. For the Congress people that are watching, for JD Vance that thinks we should just go to Area 51, you're thinking about it all wrong, my dude. You're thinking about it all wrong. That's not where you want to go. Take Ashton Forbes with you. We'll go to Sierra Nevada Corporation's front door, and we will get their Gorgon Stare videos. And I guarantee you, you will see some shit on those videos that you did not think was humanly possible. That's where we're going to go. I still remember the person that messaged me after we figured out that the one video was Gorgon Stare Whammy by Sierra Nevada Corporation. And they messaged me saying, I couldn't stop laughing about how you said that you'll find those videos on their database and you know they got to be out there somewhere, because that's the way you get them. You don't get them going and finding an alien body in some sub-basement. You get them because they've been recording all this shit, and it's all recorded on their servers, on their databases, and all we got to do is go grab it. And then it's all over. Stephen Fleischer, how often are these things getting zapped in private? Probably not too often, but I got to be honest. This whole disappearing engineer stuff and that TMB spaceships guy disappearing really bugging me. Really got me thinking about. And that McCaslin general, he had to have left of his own accord. I can't stop thinking about the fact that he disappeared the moment his wife went out to the doctor. He left on foot, no sign of struggle. Brought his gun, left his phone, and they found his sweatshirt like a mile away. Why would you leave your sweatshirt? Certainly not if you're being kidnapped. What, the kidnappers left a sweatshirt for them to find? No. He went, he left his sweatshirt. He didn't need it anymore. He was out. That's a guy fleeing for sure, in my opinion. John DeMann. Will everything you claim to be true, will there be any way to do anything hands-on to prove anything to be true? If not, then why even report on this? Guys, this is the funniest part. It's already been proven to be true. You would say, Ashton, what about the experimental data? Go look up Randall Mills's peer-reviewed scientific papers. Randall Mills has already shown with calorimetry data, which is temperature data showing an anomalous energy, and hydrogen spectrum, showing the energy level of the hydrogen atom changing. He's already shown it. You say, well, Ashton, if he's shown the proof, peer-reviewed scientific evidence that he did experiments, not simulations, experiments, why isn't it out there? Exactly. Because it's not about showing people. It's not about building something. That's what you would think as a normie. They've already suppressed all the people that really already did it. All we have to do is expose it. All I have to do is say, look at Randall Mills' data. Academics look at it and they just don't like the results. They just disagree because they don't think it should be possible. That's the 100% truth. And then you realize the problem isn't building something. The problem isn't showing someone. The problem is a psychological problem that we've all been brainwashed to think that we should only trust our betters, our experts. That's the reason why it's not out there. And when you look at the world from that perspective, I guarantee you everything will make more sense. Blue Plasma Balls, thank you for your research. Have a great weekend. You too. I got Magic cards to play early tomorrow morning, chat. I'm in some kind of tournament thing online that I qualified for last week. It's at like 8 in the morning, though, and I'm not awake or upper. XLX Squeak, can you reach Dr. Yu and ask him on his thoughts? Why don't you email him? You can find his email. I'm sure he's the kind of guy that will respond. But yeah, reach out to him. If you can't for some reason, let me know. But he should be readily accessible. Just Google him. Google his email. He's done a lot of presentations. I'm sure his email's out there. Broadway Line. Thank you for the dono, by the way. Why don't China, Iran, Russia talk about this tech? Is it a global secret? That is one of the things that I wonder about all the time. Why did China not expose the United States? Why didn't they say the United States used a super weapon on the plane? Why are they all lying about it? Because it's not just the United States keeping it secret. China's keeping it secret. Russia's keeping it secret. Iran probably knows. Is it that they're afraid that if they say the truth, that the United States will say it's all fake and that they're lying for propaganda? I'm not sure. I think maybe a communal understanding of the danger, just like Charles Chase, who says we're not ready for this. Every government, every physics expert says the same thing. They're all saying we're not ready. The world's not ready. We have to slowly drip this out. Meanwhile, all the governments are trying to develop the most advanced version of this technology. The United States is figuring out teleportation and fusion balls that are stable and flying around. Meanwhile, we don't even know what China and Russia have, but presumably it's not that good. Presumably, because they're not the ones in charge of the world. So great question, by the way, Broadway line. Appreciate it. Zapparoo, great job, Ashton. Zapparaya, and I salute you. I salute you back. I sent a message to Zapparaya the other day. I saw hers. Thank you very much for that. The ball chortling sounds of Redditor hatred are comically pathetic. Yes, I do see a lot of people link this. This video is fake. These Redditors found cloud photos. These Redditors found a VFX from the 90s. First of all, guys, I've already refuted all of those, like powerfully refuted them, including the fact that the cloud photos post-date the videos. Kind of a problem. Let me just put it this way. For the people that doubt or what have you and wonder why is this guy so confident, I would bet my life. I would bet my life that the MH370 videos are real. The Redditors are wrong. The people that said the videos were fake are wrong. It's that simple. That's the truth. And it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. Reddit's basically been wrong about everything ever. Okay. Stuart McLeod, very good research, Ashton. BPP. Yeah, first sword, whatever, guys. Don't just ignore the haters in the chat. It's no big deal. Don't worry about them. Some people get triggered because I say mean things to them on social media and then they crash out. It is what it is. But thank you, Stuart. I appreciate it. And the BPP finding, more people need to look at that. Look at those names on the BPP, guys. It's all of our zero-point energy engineers. And not just the names. Look at where they were working. Because people say they're just making this up. They're just messing around. Lockheed Martin, Los Alamos, Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, Robert Forward, David Froning, George Miley. They're not making it up, guys. They know it's real, and they're putting their heads together. Bar T Welding, at some point, Ashton reveals he's from the future. Chat, even I wonder about this. I might not even know that I'm from the future. I wouldn't know if I go to the past when I get older. So if you want to go full schizo, don't put a picture of Bob Lazar and Ashton Forbes next to one another. Just saying, if you do, whatever happens to your psychology, that's on you. Anyway, MH370X, I love you guys. Have a great night. We'll be back on Monday. Take it easy, everybody. Later.
Out in the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
exotic matter. Negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeeze so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine. Spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound, a shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the